Welcome back to my channel. This is your girl Diva Steffi, and yes, we are going to talk about current affairs. We are going to talk about things that are breaking the internet, and yes, I cannot leave out my homeland Grenada. Right, so there is this trending situation that occurred, I think it's all of June, where a young man would have imported 2 horses to Grenada. However, the horses were detained on the port because the horses apparently were tested and the results came back. So the result is that the horses were tested positive for babesia, right? So which is a parasite, I believe. Let's find out about babesia. Right. So with equine babiosis or equine pyroplasmosis, it is a serious tick-borne blood disease in horses caused by Theileria equi and Babesia callali. It destroys red blood cells, causing severe anemia, fever, and jaundice, and is transmitted by ticks or contaminated needles. It requires immediate veterinary diagnosis and anti-protozoal treatment. Right? All hearing that. That is on. This one is from Madborn Equine. That's if you Google it, you're gonna see these results come up. Understand? Okay. So the symptoms the horses, may have is high fever, they would have anemia and jaundice, the urine will be dark, and they would have loss of appetite, labored breathing, um, and reduce in exercise tolerance. Right? So usually the cause and transmission of that disease is by tick bites. So yeah, it spreads by competent ticks, like a competent tick species, such as Derma, Centorn, Hyaloma, etc. Or they could also get contaminated by the use of certain instruments. So it spreads by iatrogenic transmission, such as reusing unsterilized hypodermic needles or syringes amongst horses, and also the through pregnancy. So the T. equine and the B. cabali can be passed from an infected mare to her developing fetus. So there would have been some claims that the horses may have been pregnant. So let's listen to a clip. So we listen to the clipping from the Grenada Broadcasting Network. So this is a reporter. She's addressing the whole situation concerning the young man.
Royan Smith and his legal team are accusing the Ministry of Agriculture of making a disproportionate and unfair threat of legal action, including the decision to euthanize 2 of his horses. The dispute follows the ministry's referral of Smith to the Royal Grenada Police Force for investigation and possible prosecution over the importation of 2 horses infected with equine babiosis. Authorities allege Smith breached the Animals, Diseases and Importation Act and the Animals Importation Control Regulations. While officials maintain their actions were guided by technical assessments, regional advice, and international standards, Smith believes he is being politically targeted. Represented by attorney Nigel Stewart and supported by international organizations such as the Magnolia Foundation, Smith is pursuing legal action.
Well, I have 2 organizations, international organizations that helping me out, and one of them set up the GoFundMe, and the other one they was doing the dossier and to provide
Right, so let me just cut a little bit. So this is Royan Smith. He's the owner and manager of Bonanza Stable and horseback riding. Yeah. So that's the owner of the horses.
All information to the legal information to the lawyer.
Speaking at Wednesday's post-cabinet briefing, Permanent Secretary Javan Will.
So that situation that situation was, as I say, it happened middle of June. However, I'm just reacting on it now. Yeah. Because I would have come across another clipping about the whole situation, but it was from someone from St. Lucia. I would ensure that I will sure that I add that clip to the video.
Williams confirmed that a report on the matter was submitted to the Criminal Investigations Department. He also rejected Smith's claim that the horses were pregnant and said that Smith violated the laws of both Grenada and St. Lucia by transporting the animals without the required export and import permits.
The consignee, in interaction with the office, was advised that there are several options. First option is since there were no export permit, no import permit from Grenada, it's a violation on two countries. So the first option is to ensure that the horses are repatriated to where they come from or to a country that might accept them. We learned on the morning of the 29th, May the 29th, the said consignee returned to the office, indicating that the horses were in crates on the port of St. George's.
Authorities have described Smith's actions as smuggling. His lawyer argues, however, that under Section 20 of the Animals Act, importing an animal without a permit is not specifically.
So, let me pause again. So, right, so they're stating that he imported these two horses to Grenada without any permit, any import permit, XYZ. So it comes as if he would have smuggled the horses into the country. I don't know how an individual could just smuggle two big horses like that into the country. Anyways, let us proceed. Sorry for any background noise and stuff. This is a total country. There will be
He notes that
noise
the
left, right,
maximum
and
penalty
center.
under
Yeah, let's go. Let's take it back a
an
little
animal
bit.
without a permit is not specifically listed as an offense. He notes that the maximum penalty under Regulation 26 is a fine of $200. Smith's team adds that the ministry failed to formally refuse or approve entry before the animals arrived, despite his repeated requests for clarity. Chief Veterinary Officer Dr. Kimon Cummings defended the euthanization of the horses on May 29th, stating that equine babiosis is the only tick-borne disease reportable to the World Organization for Animal Health and that Grenada has no reported cases nor the capacity to treat infected animals. Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell has defended the government's response, describing Smith's actions as lawless and saying decisive measures were necessary to protect public health and the livestock sector.
Have to.
So yes, so Deacon Mitchell, which is the Prime Minister of Grenada, gave his feedback on the situation. So let's hear what he has to say. There's a few things that he said. There's a few things that he said. So let's listen to what he has to say.
Take seriously the risk of animal disease outbreaks or spread because it could have dire consequences for the country. And there are times when the team at the ministry may have to act preemptively because waiting to verify might be too late because by the time you verify, the spread might have taken. So this is to emphasize, and I want to make it public, that I will support the team whenever there is a risk posed to public health or animal health.
Smith, however, says he has previously imported horses carrying the disease and was transparent with ministry officials throughout the process. He says he is deeply disappointed by the government's response, while his attorney describes the actions taken as adding insult to injury. His legal team is moving ahead with their original case against the government. The Grenada Broadcasting Network contacted St. Lucia's chief veterinary officer, who declined to comment. The Royal Grenada Police Force has not yet responded to requests for an update on the status of their investigation. Deidre Seeley.
Right. So that was one statement that he made, but there is another statement that he made prior to that one. Let me see if I could find it. Right. So I got the clipping with Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell. Here's another statement that he made about the whole bonanza situation with the horses. Hear what he has to say.
The importation of animals into Grenada without a permit is a criminal offense. And worse yet, the importation of animals that are diseased into the country puts the entire country at risk. And I'm unapologetic about the actions taken by the officials of the ministry. The only thing I'm a little disappointed in is that they did not themselves respond and explain to the public why they did what they had to do in the interest of protecting the public. So I want us to understand the spread of disease through animal can happen quite easily and could have damning repercussions for the country. We can't export fruits even today because of pests which were imported into the country many years ago. So we need to understand this is not some joking social media bacchanal. We need to protect the interests of the country. So I expect, and I want to emphasize this.
Right, so this is a response from the Prime Minister. To be quite honest, I think that sometimes he misinterprets stuff, and he always thinks that anything that happens, any social issues that arise in the country, and people respond to it on the internet, it automatically is deemed as bacchanal. I don't know. So remember, if you listen early in this recording, I would have read earlier from Google and from different websites, is that this illness can be treated. And it just goes to show that Grenada is not even fully equipped to handle such minute situations. They don't even have the medication to even administer to the animals. You understand? And to me, I don't even think they give the young man a fair chance to even administer any form of medication to his horses. Right? And yes, the horses, they unalive the horses. They did it, and they did it in the most awful way.
Anything was not a
listen
danger
this.
to other animals, wasn't a danger to humans. And so a vet came out and say all of that. Prime Minister, you know, vet, we're going to listen to in relation to something like that. A vet of how much years experience, who has dealt with hundreds of horses and so, or the Prime Minister? Who are you going to take the information from regarding that? He was very clear on the specific type of tick bite that the horses got, what they got from those specific ticks, and what that could cause. In fact, I will play the vet a little later on. But we hear the Prime Minister again.
The imputation.
Yeah. So you all would have listened to that clip. Yeah, I played it already.
It's just for them to do what they did, and knowing that the young man had been in contact with them before the horses got here, knowing that the young man had been in contact with them.
Okay, let me not go too far because I want to play some clipping of the young man in question. So let's listen to some clip from him. Listen to Royan Smith, and remember, he's a young man that had a situation with the horses. So let's hear what he has to say.
Lies that have been telling from people who are sitting in government office, for example, the permanent secretary, chief veterinary officer, the way the Prime Minister deal with matter. I mean, it's all so sad and so discouraging to me as a young person. I thought the government would have come and apologize. In fact, people send me a letter threatening me that they instruct the police to come and arrest me. I mean, I didn't do nothing to get arrested. I mean, these people are the ones that do the wrong thing. They are the ones that take advantage of the innocent animals. Animals was no threat to nobody. Animals was no threat to livestock in this country. And the Prime Minister, they had a press conference and they come and say they're speaking facts when it's not facts. What they're speaking was false information, spreading rumors, misleading the public. No, chief veterinary officer act like he never know anything about the horses and say I smuggle horses in the island. I'll never do something like that. I'm a law-abiding citizen. I'm not doing anything wrong. I just trying to do everything positive, trying to set an example, trying to create employment for young people, trying to provide a good service for the tourists. People all over the world must be happy when they come to Grenada. I mean, and they make people all over the world sad right now because this story reached all over the world. People from all over the world calling me and telling me accept the condolences for what happened, you know. And right here in Grenada, I have a prime minister that come and say unapologetic for what happened. I mean, come on. I'm a young businessman. I'm a Grenadian. Just trying. Government should be supporting me, not discouraging me. My animals in a brutal way. This morning I had to look at a video where the police shot my horses in the head and kill them. I mean, I don't know what my horse's life mean to them, but to me, a horse life is like a person, you know. I went and tell them the horse. They just didn't care. They just didn't care about it. He's the one give the order. So the government will kill my children and then show no remorse. In fact, come and boast about it. Chief veterinary officer say he's the one give the order. But it wasn't him alone. All of them put their head in one. And this is all political victimization. So because I just be around with Emily there, the lady has.
So pausing. So he's saying now that based on how they would have handled the situation with the horses, he thinks that it is a political victimization because remember the Prime Minister of Grenada, he is the leader of the NDC party, which is the National Democratic Congress, and NNP is the opposition party. That's the other party, and the new NNP leader right now is Miss Emmeline Pear. So he's stating that because he does them wrong, Miss Emmeline Pear, he believes that it's a political victimization stuff. So, but let's listen to him some more still. Let's listen some.
Since I was a young person, since I was a little boy, she helped me and keep me on the positive track. That's why I end up reaching where I is today. I mean, they didn't care about how much money I spend. They didn't care about what my horses mean to me. They didn't care about the affecting the tourism business in Grenada. They just didn't care. They just about to kill my horses. You know, and they never come and make an apology to me. In fact, they come and boast about what they do and try to frame me and make me look like a criminal. See, I smuggle in horses. Well, I must be crazy to try to smuggle horses, a big animal. How you go smuggle horses? You know, it's just a crazy statement. And the man proudly dressed up in jacket and tie and saying that in a press conference to the nation. I mean, these people have to think that Grenadians stupid, but Grenadians not stupid. Like the smallest child go know that that song in right. How a man go smuggle horses and bring it in on the port.
Well, I found that very hilarious too. Honestly, if you ask me, I found it very hilarious about this whole situation that he smuggled the horses into the country. So my thing is that if they're saying that he had smuggled the horses into the country, so that means somebody on the port was not doing the job effectively. They were not doing the job properly. So if there was some documents that wasn't submitted or wasn't filled up with the correct information and stuff, then there would have been a breach somewhere, and the blame cannot only be on this young man. You understand? You know?
Where everybody there, the police there, and then again, I went and tell them the horses were coming. I tell them the problem we had. You know, the chief veterinary officer in the other country contacted them, and now they're pretending as if I just get some horses, some wild horse somewhere, and try to smuggle it into the country. I mean, how could people sitting in government tell so much lies and over a simple issue as that? So that makes me wonder what these men doing in government. I mean, with public funds, with government funds, you can't trust them because if they could come and tell lies about this simple incident, the permanent secretary say he get a tip off from some port manager that some illegal horses coming in. The man lie. I went to the ministry and tell the man that the horse is coming in, and the chief veterinary officer and Dexter and Seminar, they were not answering my calls because they are the ones that mislead me. When I speak to them and I tell them the situation, Kimon Cummins, who is the chief veterinary officer, tell me he on vacation for a couple of days. He could help me, but he on vacation. So he gave me Dexton St. Bernard number. And when I contact Dexton St. Bernard and tell him, come on, come and tell me to call him. He said, yeah, man, if you can help you with that, just let the chief veterinary officer in the other country email him the information. And the chief veterinarian in the other country email Dexton St. Bernard the information. And he never responded at the same time. So because I know he give me a word of mouth and say, yeah, they gonna help me, I go ahead and tell the chief veterinary officer in the other country to load the horses on the boat. And they load the horses on the boat. And then in the evening time around 5 o'clock, he just called the lady and say that they're not going to accept it. So
right. So that was my, you see, what they does always say, they always say, don't take people word for it. Never you ever do that. Listen, even though that man was on vacation, listen, and he give me the go ahead and he said, yes, go ahead. I would have insisted that he sent me a text message confirming that order, or a short email to me letting me know that it is okay, he's giving the order for this to be done. Or even self, I would have recorded the call conversation. You cannot trust, you see, as he say, you cannot even trust. I mean, come on, people in the government, you cannot even trust at this point. You can't even trust these people.
And I tell her, well, get the horses off the boat. Yeah, so at that time, the boat already left and we couldn't get the horses off. So knowing that, I think, well, government here to help. So I run to the government. I run in the Ministry of Agriculture to speak to the permanent secretary. And I went in and explained the situation to him.
So, guys, let me just cut this again. What he's saying there, someone from St. Lucia would have dropped a video. I guess it was today because I saw the video today. Hopefully, I think it's today whenever the person dropped the video. Right? So what he's saying, the person technically confirming certain things what he's saying, because he said that he told them this is the situation that's going on with the horses and he's going to take care of them in, I guess, in terms of giving them medication, right? Because remember, he deals with horses. His business evolves around horses, right? He has a business. It's called Bonanza. Bonanza something, right? So of course he would know how to care for his animals, and if ever he gets a vet or to assist him in case his horses are sick. So yeah, the person confirmed what he said.
Give me the word, and then they just changed their mind last minute. That time the horses was on the boat already. And he told me he's gonna try to help me. So I tell the man the horses was coming. I tell the man the date. So it's a shame to see that permanent secretary go and to the public and pretend I didn't know the horses was coming, or pretend I get some tip off from some boat manager. The man telling lies. So how could you trust people like that to run this country? I mean, you just cannot trust them. And the chief veterinary officer pretending as if he didn't know and saying that I smuggle animals into the country. I mean, come on. This man telling lies also. They all telling lies. And then the prime minister, the man showed no remorse. So how could I watch a man as a leader? I mean, the man, he made Grenada look shame. Because any decent person would not like something like that. So how you could be unapologetic about it and proudly saying that? I wonder if the leaders of this country, they must be crazy because this thing not right. And you have decent people in the world that are looking at this story. And that is what the man will come and say as a leader. No remorse for my loss. No remorse for all my investments. Everything go down the drain. They spread rumors about some disease that spread. All of that was lies. And the facts are there. You know, the disease is endemic to Grenada and the Caribbean. Only affect horses. They have information published by the university stating that they test animals here and got it. And another sad thing, the government of Grenada, they didn't even have no proof that my horses had babesia because they never run no tests when the horses arrive in Grenada. They just take whatever the chief veterinary officer in other country tell them and they just go ahead and kill the animals.
That is so technically they didn't even test the horses here in Grenada, you know. It's because they would have submitted that information to the government of Grenada, right, to let them know that they are importing it, they're sending on the two horses to the owner. However, when the test came back that they tested positive for the babesia stuff, yeah. So he's saying that they did not even test the horses, so they just only go with what St. Lucia would the people over there with the veterinarian services would have sent to them. You understand? Nice birds chirping. Yeah. You know. You would hear from the person. I'll play that person clip and then we'll close off this reaction.
They didn't know to test these animals. So it was real unjust thing that happened to me.
Yeah, may I pause this here. So it was, of course, an unjust thing, and I felt I would empathize with him. I would sympathize with him because, I mean, any money that you spend to invest in a business, it's for a worthy cause, and money does not come easy. It doesn't come easy. But let me see if I could get a clip with the lady, and then I'll play it. And you guys, free you all feel free to drop all the comments below how you feel about the situation, and please be respectful in the comments section. Okay, please be respectful, and yeah. So this clip is coming out from Newspin on Facebook, so you can always go and check it out. Check out them on Facebook, where you can listen to that clipping yourself. Let's pay. This is coming up from St. Lucia. I think it's the office of the Prime Minister. I don't know what is going on here. I don't know who she is, but yeah.
Do not have any parasite. Our vet offices were contacted. On the surface, you cannot see any parasite. The horses looked like they were in good condition. But upon investigation and testing, we realized that they hold a certain parasite. By the time we got that information and our department contacted the gentleman, he explained that he was already on his way to the port to get it.
Right. So y'all listening. I hope all are paying attention, because you hear what the lady says. They When they test the animals, they realize they're positive with the babesia parasite, with the tick issue. Right. So the testing was done after the horses and them already done this going on the port to come down to Grenada. So my thing is that why in the Caribbean people doing things backward? Test the horses first to make sure that they're good. Yes, even though test the horses first, and then you allow him to live with the horses or whatever. Because I don't think that they could stop him from living with the horses. I don't think so. But you hear what she said. You hear what she said. Let me just give her like a point on it. Yeah. So at the end of the day, she's now confirming that they were the ones that tested the horses, and they would have relayed the information to Grenada, to the people in the veterinarian office. So the veterinarian services here, nobody, no vet, whatever, tested these animals.
Animals out. We do not have any laws that can prevent him from doing that, because anybody can take their pet and go back to their country or go back to any other country with it. It's what comes in that we are able to regulate or act upon based on the law. And so we contacted Grenada. We informed them of what we discovered. We asked them if they would have taken in the animals on his behalf. They said no. We informed the gentleman. He said he was still going to go across with his pets anyway. We eventually learned that when they got to Grenada, they were euthanized. And so that is where all the conversation came about. From St. Lucia's end, from start to finish, we operated within the law.
Right. So she said that's where the confusion happened and stuff like that. And according to the Prime Minister of Grenada, Deacon Mitchell, he's called it bacchanal. So that situation is confusion, and that situation is bacchanal. Well, I should say three. The three parties, or whoever involved, or the three parties involved: Grenada, them, and the young man. And well, no, we could say the port as well. So there are four. It could be more than four parties involved in that situation. This could have happened way different. This could have been treated way different. You understand? To me, this could have been treated way different. And listen, the thing that affects me is the manner in which they would have euthanized the horses or unalived the horses was real crazy, because there is actually a procedure to euthanize the horses. You have to, based on what I read on Google again, is you have to sedate the animal. At least the owner of the horses should be there. The owner should be there. At least to be there to hold, to provide some form of comfort for the animal, for the horses, and then you give it one, one pew pew, right? It's one pew pew to the head. That's what I've read on Google from one of the website there. So this situation was really crazy, and it reached a lot of people all over the world, and there were some people that, the comments was crazy. Some of the comments was crazy, but I don't want to make that vlog too long. But there was some really some terrible response in the comment section concerning that situation. There was a lot of people that didn't show no remorse at all for that young man and his losses for his horses. But you know what? At the end of the day, what good for the goose is good for the gander. And I hope that nobody else, especially those who bad for the ruling party now, I hope if anything happens to the animals, I hope they won't come out to the media and look for empathy or look for sympathy, because they showed I should say little to no remorse for that young man and his horses. Yes, there would have been some breaches in the whole transportation of the horses and the whole situation, but it could have been handled better. It could have been handled better. People make mistakes, and at the end of the day, let us always make sure that we're doing the right thing. When people telling all oh yes, or only giving you confirmation about some things, make sure that they document it, put it in writing, have it on record. Don't study them about the illegal recording. Record them, or let them know that you're recording them for proof. Understand? So anyways, big up all the whole self. Remember to like and subscribe, drop the comments below, and tell a friend to tell a friend. Peace.